This is my chocolate banana cake. It is delicious, decadent, very rich, and you can probably get at least 18 to 24 slices out of it. One tiny bite really does the trick. This is one of those desserts where you really see the difference between a homemade thing and something that comes mass produced in a factory or a boxed cake mix, because with homemade things, you have the ability to create something that has different tastes and textures. If you can see, the sides of the pan are a lot crispier and chewier than the center. And then also you have a ribbon of banana running through this chocolate cake. And mass-produced things really struggle to do that. You definitely can't get that with a boxed cake mix. This is the second section of my farmer's market, where you can buy at 1/2 or 1/3 of the price things that are a little bit old. With bananas, that's exactly what you want. If you have a mind to bake something with bananas, like banana bread, and you have to buy some green ones at the grocery store and let them sit on your kitchen counter for a week or more to ripen up, if you're anything like me, you will have lost the will to bake by that time. So I'm really lucky that my farmer's market has this section where I can buy little bit older fruits that I typically will use for baking. I use the apples from there for cider. All right, so here's what we'll need: flour, sugar, salt, baking powder, vanilla. Please feel free to use artificial vanilla, as I am doing here. Real vanilla is not only super expensive, but anytime that you are making something that is very assertively flavored, strong chocolate or strong citrus flavors, for example, the delicate nuances of vanilla, real vanilla, will probably not be found. You'll need butter, espresso powder, and you will also want eggs, 6 eggs, set out at room temperature. My butter was also room temperature, I forgot to mention. You'll need cocoa powder. Now, I use both the Special Dark, which is Hershey's Dutch process, as well as the standard cocoa powder. You could use both. You can use just one. That's fine. I just do request that you don't use Nestle's or any store brand of cocoa powder, which tends to be Nestle's just white labeled. And I'm using 5 bananas here. Please know that they're very ripe, even though I bought them at the second section at the farmer's market. I still had to wait a few more days. And then lastly, we will need some chocolate chips. I'm using a mix of bittersweet and milk chocolate chips. I did put the white chips out just to show you. I'm not using those today, but I've tried them in the past and some people like them. I'm not the biggest fan of white chocolate, to be honest with you, but personal preference. As for tools, you'll need a 1 cup measuring cup, a teaspoon, a wire whisk. You'll need a spatula. I don't know where my silicone spatula is. I'm just using this one, which not perfectly suited to the job, but that's what I'm using. That's what I can find. And then you'll need 3 mixing bowls. You'll also need a 9x13 baking dish. I'm using a ceramic dish because, man, my stuff is always somewhere else. My metal dish, 9x13, is at somebody else's house. I'd rather use a metal, but I'm using what I have. And then ideally, you'll also have a cooling rack. I got this one that you see here from the dollar store. It's not mandatory, but. And lastly, you will need a bowl which is microwave safe, because we're going to be microwaving our butter. Okay, our butter, 1 stick of butter is going to go into our microwave safe bowl for 30 seconds. That's how long my microwave takes to melt 1 stick. And we're going to take the wrapper that butter came in, and we'll use it to wipe down our baking dish. In my first bowl, which will be used for the chocolate, I have 1.5 cups of sugar. I'm adding in 3/4 of a teaspoon of espresso powder. As long as you use no more than 1/2 to 3/4 of a teaspoon of the espresso powder, you will not taste coffee. Any more than that, you might start to taste coffee. Now we'll pour in our stick of melted butter. And it's okay if it's hot, by the way. And then 1 cup of cocoa powder. Again, I did use a mix of the Dutch process and regular. Feel free to just use one kind. And I'm going in with about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Please feel free to eyeball that. You're just going to mix that up. It's a very dense batter and you'll set it aside. Next, in our microwave safe bowl, yet another stick of butter gets melted while the wrapper it came in is used to wipe down our baking dish. And I have 4.5 bananas. I actually ate half of one. 4.5 is like the perfect amount. So if you have a tiny bit more, have a couple bites as your snack. And over that, I'm going to pour in my melted 1 stick of butter and 1.5 teaspoons-ish of my vanilla flavoring. And as I was making this, it occurred to me, I typically, when I make this, I've made this like 3 or 4 times in the past, typically will actually use banana flavoring here. So instead of 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, you could use banana flavoring. It's really good. I just didn't have any banana at this time. You could use a potato masher at this stage. I encourage you not to. Take the 1 or 2 extra minutes here to break down your bananas, because this is again where we talked about home baking and getting things of different varying textures. You're going to get some chunks of banana that are a little bigger and some that are really small. Some of it will become just puree. And that is what is going to give your homemade chocolate banana cake much more varied texture and interest. Again, this is something that the factory model really struggles to replicate. If you think about, let's say, Oreo cookies, Chips Ahoy, any cookies that you like that are readily available at like Walmart in the cookie section, even if they're good, they tend to be one uniform texture and flavor throughout. And that's something that you can do differently when you bake. All right, pouring in 1.5 cups of sugar. That got mixed in. I had said to mix the chocolate mixture. I hadn't done that yet. So I'm just doing that now. This is a really thick part of the batter. All right, now comes in our next step. We do want to break our eggs into a separate cup. I'm using my 1 cup measuring cup just because it does have a sharp side. And this way, in case any shell should get into that cup, I can much more easily fish it out than if the shell goes into the batter of either of these. I find that breaking it into my 1 cup measuring cup, because it has sharp sides, it's a clean cut and I don't get any shell, like ever. So one at a time, breaking them in and putting them in. So each bowl is going to get 3 eggs. We have a total of 6 eggs. We divide it evenly. 3 eggs for the banana mix, 3 eggs for the chocolate mix. All right, and once we've added those 3 eggs to each bowl and we've mixed in the eggs, we're going to add in to our third and final bowl a scant 1 cup of flour. That means like a cup minus a teaspoon, I guess. And then half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt. We'll whisk that together very, very well indeed. Nobody wants to bite into an unmixed bit of bitter baking powder. And then we'll pour that over one of the bowls. Again, we take 1 cup, scant cup of flour, half a cup of baking powder, half a cup of salt, and we pour that over the other batter. We like to wait to mix in the flour into both batters until the very last second, because our baking powder it's our leavening ingredient, and we don't want to activate it until right before it's about to go into the oven. And so I first mixed the banana batter, and I'm just going to tap off my whisk. No need to wash it. And then I use that same whisk to mix the chocolate batter. The chocolate batter gets poured into our 9x13 baking dish. I scraped it down as much as I could with this spatula, which it's not meant, you know what this spatula is, it's meant for flipping things. But I am without the perfect tool at the moment. I just use this. I spread it out a little bit, not perfectly, and then over the top goes our banana batter. I'm just going to use the handle of a spoon to do some swirls here. And our chocolate layer is very, very thick and dense. And our banana batter is much more light and airy. And so we're kind of incorporating these. This is going to break up the texture a little bit. Now we don't want to use any more than 1/2 of a cup of chips. So keep that in mind. Any mix of the bittersweet, the milk chocolate, or the white. Just don't use more than 1/2 of a cup. I don't recommend that you mix that into either of the batters. Let it kind of sit on the top, and you can run your swirling spoon through just once more. But if you let it sit on the top, as I've done, rather than mix it into one of the batters, it's going to prevent the chocolate from sinking too far down in. You do kind of want it on the top. It's going to create lovely pools of chocolate. So this will add yet another layer of texture. Airy banana batter, a thick and dense chocolate batter, and then melted pools of chocolate. This went into a preheated 350-degree oven. In my ceramic pan, it did take 85 minutes. It'll take you closer to 70 minutes if you use a metal pan. I do prefer metal pans. I do think that they bake more evenly, but I have to say this did bake fantastically well. As you can see, the anything that was touching the sides of the pan, it got a beautiful, lovely, crispy edge. And so if you get a piece near the edge, you're getting not only the crispy bit, but you're getting the soft bit that's like, 1/2 of an inch away from there. It is so good, so rich, so dense. Makes a great addition to, as you can see, you can start to see the ribbons of the banana batter in there. It makes a great addition to a church or a school bake sale. If you have a friend who's been ill, you can definitely deliver this to their house. I'm sure their family will really appreciate it. I don't think this is the kind of thing I would bring to a funeral. Those tend to be not quite so rich and decadent things, but I even had somebody request this for their birthday cake once, and it was a big hit. So not a very traditional birthday cake, but it's so good. And if you make it, you will see for yourself.